them say, nothing's ever promised tomorrow today. But we're fine.
Yo, what's good, and welcome back to another episode of Malice TV. So I wasn't even sure if I was going to talk about this topic today out of respect for both families and the parties involved. But, I mean, it's public record. It is what it is. I'm not saying nothing that's not factual. I'm not telling somebody's secret. It's something that's common knowledge, public knowledge that you can Google and look up yourself if you wanted to. So if any members of the families or parties sees this video, even though it's public knowledge, I'm still going to say I'm doing this respectfully because he was my best friend. And that's pretty much what that is. So I met my homeboy, Darian Mosley, back in 1995, my kindergarten year. I got pictures of this dude in my mama's picture albums at my crib I grew up in of me and him chilling with our arms around each other on field trips together to the apple orchard, little things you do when you're that young. My mom was always one of the chaperones that went on field trips, so there's lots of pictures of me and my buddy Darian. And if you could have told me back in 1995 that years later he would be serving a sentence of minimum 20 years for murder, I would not have believed you. But that's what life is, and that's what his story led him. Back in 2013, my boy Darian Mosley, he was dating a woman named Amy Parker, and she's 40 years old. At the time, he was 23. We're the same age. He's a little bit older than me. My birthday's in March, his is in December. So he always turned a year older 2 or 3 months before I did. By this time, you know, after you graduate high school and, you know, men go your separate ways trying to find your way in life and all. And I graduated in 2008 along with Darian. So I hadn't seen him in a long time. Hadn't connected with him. I don't know what he's going through. One day I was watching TV, News 13, WLOS, and his face popped up.
Her boyfriend behind bars after a shooting at her home.
Darian Mosley is charged with murder in the death of Amy Parker. It happened last night on Rocky Spur Drive across the road from West Marion Elementary School. News 13's Cheryl Barber joins us live at the McDowell County Law Enforcement Center.
And Cheryl, what can you tell us about what happened?
Well, deputies say the two had been arguing last night when Mosley shot Parker with a small caliber rifle. A neighbor tried to save her life.
I was laying in bed and heard a gunshot.
His first thought was his children.
I went and checked on my kids and came outside to find out what was going on.
It didn't take long for Travis Blanton to see his neighbors seriously wounded.
When I came around the corner, I saw a man standing over a woman who appeared to be shot, and he told me she was shot. At that point, I began first aid, and while he was on the phone with 911.
That man was 23-year-old Darian Mosley. Deputies say he had shot 40-year-old Amy Parker with a small caliber rifle just one wall away from Blanton's home in this duplex.
After setting up, putting pressure on the wound, I had him take over while I talked to the 911 dispatcher.
She was transported to the hospital here in Marion where she was pronounced deceased. Her body was then transported to Winston-Salem for an autopsy, and the preliminary cause of death was she did die from a gunshot wound to the abdomen.
Captain Shannon Smith says deputies took Mosley into custody. Mosley was later charged with murder.
We were just very surprised and shocked over all this that happened. We couldn't believe it. They were always real quiet. We never heard any arguments, nothing like that.
Crystal Hollifield says she knew Parker and Mosley as a couple for about a year. She says the tragedy here goes deeper as Amy Parker was trying to return to health.
Amy was going through a hard time. She had cancer. She was getting over that, and I just hate that this happened to her.
Deputies say Parker leaves behind 3 children. Mosley is in jail here and is being held without bond. Reporting live in McDowell County, I'm Cheryl Barber, News 13.
So obviously, I was shaken up by this. You know, normally you see stuff like this on the news all the time, and it don't bother me because I'm grown. I know life shit happens, and I mean, we live with this mentality. As long as it ain't me, fuck it. But this time I couldn't feel like that because I've known this guy since we were 5 years old. I know he has a good heart. He's always been a good guy. He's always been super duper quiet. He minded his business. He was the type of fella, if you ever heard of Darian getting into drama, you automatically knew somebody fucked with him first. And don't get me wrong, he'd bust your ass. I mean, I remember back in school one time, he got into it with a guy, and he damn shoved him in the damn broom closet, janitor's closet, and whooped his ass, and the guy had it coming. He deserved it. He wasn't a bully. He didn't touch you unless you touched him first. He was just an all-around stand-up guy. So I was automatically shaken, confused, and hurting for his family and the victim's family automatically. So yeah, he was locked up, and I'm thinking he's a goner. I was at work one day. At the time, I had a lame-ass job flipping burgers at Andy's in Marion or Highway 55. I was cooking one day, and I just happened to turn my head to the left and look out the window, and I was shocked when I seen what I seen. It was Darian. He was shopping, walking down the road, and I was thinking, how the fuck did you get out of that? I was happy, but I was just shocked. I think he spent like 6 months in jail, and somehow his family bonded him out. And I'm pretty sure they had to put up a house or something hefty because he had no bond at first. But eventually he got out and ended up staying out for 3 years, waiting for the trial to start, which was great for his people to do that for him. The victim's family didn't like it so much, but if that was my son, I mean, I'd probably do the same, especially if I knew he was going to be gone for a long time. In North Carolina, it don't matter if it's an accident or not. They're going to fry your ass, and they're going to make an example out of you if you kill somebody. I don't even like saying that word. It just fucks me up knowing that it's my best friend. Supposedly, like the video said, they was hanging out one night. I don't know if they got into an argument or whatnot. We all keep little rifles around. I know me, when I had my gun, I sold it. But when I had it, I walked around with my finger on the trigger. Is it proper gun safety? Is it proper etiquette for a gun? No. Was it a bad habit? Yes. Does anybody think they're going to shoot somebody doing it? No. So I understood when he got into an argument with his girlfriend one day, obviously, from what, the court documents say, she didn't want him to leave. And he was ready to go. So he walked in with the rifle in one hand, his bags in the other hand. To this day, I do not get why the victim, Amy Parker, reached out and grabbed the damn barrel of the rifle. Even in court, they say this rifle has a extremely light trigger pull. So it went along with what he said. It was an accident. It was all in the moment, the heat of the moment. We've all been there, fellas. You do something you're going to regret. I'm guessing he had it in his hand, like, kind of pointed it up, and she grabbed the barrel. Obviously, when you grab the barrel, it's pointed directly at you, and it makes sense. She got shot in the torso, in the belly. Now, if she got shot in the face or the neck area or anything above the clavicle, it'd be suspect. Like, how'd you accidentally shoot somebody there? But from what he said, and the man called 911 on himself and explained it was an accident. Even on the scene waiting for the paramedics to arrive, he did CPR and tried to resuscitate the victim. The victim was recovering from cancer. So obviously she was weaker than the average individual. So it didn't take much, a little .22 bullet in the belly, to take her life away from her. I'm still shocked. So 3 years later, trial commences. I'm not trying to lean one way or the other, but as a black man, you got to understand, when you have an all-white jury, an all-white juror, all 12 are white, in McDowell County, in the Bible Belt, down south, where wearing a do-rag to school is considered a gang sign. It was evident from the beginning they was going to damn sacrifice my boy. He fucked up and made a mistake. He was honest about it. I don't know how many murderers try to resuscitate the victim and then call 911 on themselves. Don't run or anything. Wait at the scene till the police get there. But down here in the Bible Belt, an all-white jury for a black man killing a white woman, it just sounds like bad news. And they fraud him. Minimum 20 years. That's a lifetime. And I get what people say, yeah, he took her life, but geez, man, it's an accident. Eventually, he appealed the decision. He felt like court wasn't fair, that they're trying to sentence him to second-degree murder, B1, which is a worse charge, which comes with more years, when he felt like, under the guidelines, he should be under B2, another statute of second-degree murder, a little less time. And it wasn't just to try to get less time. If you actually look at it, because I downloaded the appeal, and I read I think there's at least 20 pages of it. I read every bit of it and did my proper research before I made this video. So if somebody tries to call me out, I got the shit already downloaded in my phone on a PDF. I can go bring it up on Adobe and look at it, or screenshot it or post it. You know? It's just an unfortunate situation. When you're kids, you don't think about shit like this. No, you couldn't have told me in any aspect that any of my friends would be serving a life fucking sentence. And I'm put between a rock and a hard place, you know, because I know the victim. I know her daughter. And shortly after this, somehow or the other, I ended up running across the victim's daughter, and I had to listen to her. You know, she was grieving, so she was saying things, mean things about the defendant. Put me in a weird position, but I understand where she's coming from. When you're upset, if somebody killed my mother, accident or not, fry their ass. So I kind of understood where both sides are coming from. On one hand, it's an accident. On the other hand, it's still done. So the appeal goes through, and Darian Mosley ends up getting resentenced. This is the part that messes me up. Out of all the appeals, all the documents that I read, I cannot seem to find what the actual new sentence was. I would love to be able to tell you guys what his release date is, but I can't. If any of you guys can Google it and figure it out and maybe message me or shoot me an email, I'll put my email in the description, in the link. Let me know. But yeah, from best friends to convicted murderer. It's unreal. This message right here goes out to all the grown men out there. I know how it feels to have a woman or have, you know, somebody close to you that you love that sometimes you can't fucking stand. But if you ever get angry, frustrated, you know, tired of their shit, please, please, my brothers, take a deep breath and walk it off. Because it takes one split second. It takes 2 minutes, 2 seconds sometimes to give you life in prison. There's plenty of men out there that have got mad and in the moment let their anger out, and they're dealing with it the rest of their life. I got mad at my little sister one time, and I punched a marble table. How fucking dumb can you get? Not drywall, a marble table. Look at my hand. To this day, my hand is crooked as shit. This finger's stuck. I broke it in fucking half. It was a split-second decision. Luckily for me, I could rebound from it. My boy Darian is not so lucky. It wasn't a broken finger. It was a shot to the torso. So if there's any men out there that are hotheads, if there's any men out there that feel like you can't control your temper, I'm telling you, brother, please walk it off. DJ Ankit, walk it out. Because the second you make a mistake and give in to what you're feeling, you're going to regret it the rest of your natural life. You can call me biased because he was my best friend. You can call me whatever you want to call me. But I truly, in my heart, the Darian that I know, that I knew as a child, we grew up to be grown men. Up to the point of graduating high school, the Darian that I knew kept his hands to himself. He was a very quiet guy. Like almost mysterious quiet. He literally kept to himself unless you mess with him. So the picture the prosecution tried to paint of him being this abuser, and she was recovering from cancer and he beat her and left bruises on her and beat her up and had enough one night and tried to kill her, it just does not seem factual to me. Call me what you want. But yeah, man, I woke up today with this on my heart. I was thinking about my buddy. He's been down for a while now. The murder happened in 2013. He was sentenced in 2016. The appeal went through. So I have no idea, you know, if he was going to serve the actual 20 years, he would have been out 2036. So I'm pretty sure if the appeal was successful, which I think it was, that the time went down a little bit. I want to see him back out on the streets. He's not a habitual offender. In fact, I think that might have been his first crime ever committed because he didn't smoke weed. He didn't really do anything like that. So it just, to me, it's just like, normally I'm one of those guys that can't stand the free my nigga, free so-and-so, free da-da-da, when they're fucking, you know, horrible people. But I honestly would wear a shirt that says free Dunk, free Darian Mosley. During the trial process, there were jurors that were observed literally sleeping while testimony was going on. One juror was even caught winking at the victim's family. Winking, like, we got you, girl. Don't worry, I'm going to sleep all the time during this trial. As soon as we go back here to deliberate, we're going to fuck him up. And that's exactly what happened. After this long trial, it took the jurors 2 hours to figure out he needs to serve minimum 20 years or more. So, I don't know, man. Pretty much I've realized if you're going to commit a crime, don't do it in the Bible Belt. Especially if you're black or of color. Because where I'm from, the city that me and Darian both grew up in, Marion, North Carolina, at the time was 13% black. So we all knew each other very well, very tight-knit. And it just breaks my heart to know that my boy is in prison over accident. It's fucked up. I send my condolences to the victim's family. Amy Parker, you didn't deserve that. I'm sorry for all the daughters and, you know, her children that might see this, which some of them are grown now. I apologize if you disagree with me, but I'm just stating how I feel from the guy that I knew. I would never put something on the internet to make myself or others look like a jackass. But from the bottom of my heart, I truly don't believe he did that on purpose. And I want to see him out. I'll take the flack in the comments or whatever people say, but I truly want to see my mans get out one day. I don't even know where he's at, but I know he pretty much probably has good behavior and everything. Hopefully he'll be paroled soon and have his life back and a new start. You know, some offenders can't be rehabilitated. I truly feel like Darian will be rehabilitated. And I cannot wait to see my boy back out on these streets again. Somebody I've known since yay high. To him being gone. And every now and then when I think my life sucks, it couldn't be no worse. I remember what a YouTuber that I follow named Jay Williams said. Your worst day outside in the free world is better than your best day locked up in a penitentiary. Just like Jay Williams says, this world is a crazy world, and these institutions and these penitentiaries are just a crazier world inside of this already crazy world we already live in. That's a quote from Jay Williams, Let's Live Life. That's not my quote. You guys go check him out on YouTube. I'm not going to hold you guys up too much longer. It just breaks my heart that this man is dealing with this still. It's almost like this happened so long ago and he's still down. So R.I.P. to Amy Parker. I hope you're in heaven dancing. I hope you got your wings. And keep your head up. Darian, keep your head up. You will be soon one day. That prison is not your home. It's temporary, just like this body we live in. And I hope to see you come home one day, man. Until then, I'm going to tell you a story, and I won't let nobody speak down on your name. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. If there's any new subscribers or new people watching, thank you for subscribing. If you're watching and haven't subscribed, please subscribe to me. And I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Salute.
And I heard him say, nothing's ever promised tomorrow today, but we'll find a way.